Yo! Welcome back, Wolfgang. This is the Fantasy Fixers Podcast, and I'm your host, Winston Wolf. If you're new to the channel, smash the sub button. We finally hit 100 subscribers last week, so here's the giveaway. First, you need to sub to the channel. Second, just state where you're from in the comment section and you will enter the contest. That's all you have to do. Now, you must have PayPal or Cash App to enter, because I'm not sending you any funds from Western Union. All right, I'm going to give you the seven takeaways, the week 7 takeaways, along with the best waiver ads of the week. All right, every single week it's a myriad of injuries, but this is football, and they're just as much as part of the game as touchdowns. I know you've heard of the term, football is a young man's game, and it's fairly true for everybody except for QBs. Guys are playing until they're 62, getting Social Security along with their own contract. This year's different. The old QBs look washed. Brady, Rodgers, Ryan, Russell. Is it too early to say they need to hang it up and make an Expendables movie? I wouldn't even be mad at Tom Brady if he quit mid-season to get his wife and family back. This ain't worth it. They let the McCaffrey-less Panthers blow the doors off. All right, let's start with the Ravens, 23, Browns 20. All aboard! The Gus Bus is back. Now, I'll admit, I was dead wrong. I thought they would ease him back in the game by him coming off an ACL injury. They kept him away from the game for a year and a half. He stumbled and rumbled his way to 2 touchdowns. This was still a 3-headed committee, and they pretty much shared the workload evenly. You're going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but I'm selling Gus to the moon and back if I can. Gus had 23 snaps, Justice Hill had 20 snaps, and Drake was 17. This is going to be a messy backfield, and Gus will be TD dependent. But like I always told you, pick up any starting running back, no matter who it is. Mark Andrews put up a Gilbert Arenas jersey number. And I wouldn't worry about this at all because he played 88% of the snaps. Lamar has put up 4 subpar games in a row. Caution. Nick Chubb was Nick Chubb, 91 yards in the TD. He has scored a TD in 5 of their last 7 games. The days of Kareem Hunt being RB2 are fading away like Jordan with the game on the line. Hunt had 5 carries and 2 targets for 4 yards. He saved you with a TD, but you have to be super desperate to start him at this point. Amari 3 for 74. Donovan Peoples-Jones has been a sneaky flex play for the last month. He's had 4 catches and at least 50 yards over those games. You might say that's nothing, but you're hoping for 10 PPR points from your flex, and he's put that up in 3 of his last 4 games. David Njoku was injured and was sporting a walking boot and crutches, so it's likely that he has a high ankle sprain. So you might have to stream the worst position in football till he gets back, if you're starting Njoku, of course. Panthers 23, Bucks 3. Dear Tom, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling. I left my cell, my pager, and my home phone at the bottom. The Bucks look bad, you look washed, and your stats are trash. Leave the game, re-retire, go get your family back. Anyways, I hope you get this, man. Hit me back, just a chat. Truly yours, your biggest fan. This is Stan. Can someone please mail a letter to Tom Terrific and tell him it's over? Tom is cooked. He threw 49 passes and not one was a TD. I know Evans dropped a wide open bomb to start the game, and I'll give you that. But how do you not beat a team that's starting PJ Walker and you're a double-digit favorite? Evans could have had a huge game if it wasn't for the drop bomb, but he ended the day 9 for 96. Chris Godwin 7 for 43? Yeah, 743. The Panthers backfield. Both backs look decisive and explosive. Foreman put up 118 yards and Hubbard put up 63 in the touchdown. Hubbard did get the start and he outsnapped Foreman 22-14 in the first 3 quarters, but Hubbard got injured late. I've been having a running joke for about a month now about me trading DJ Moore, but I had to let him live this week because he put up 7 for 69 and a TD, and it was good to see because you don't want a star to play this poor. I'm hoping he gets traded before the deadline, preferably to the Packers. They need help. I still don't trust DJ Moore, but he is on my radar right now. Bengals 35, Falcons 17. Let me get to the Falcons first because this will be quick. You can't trust anyone on this team. I don't care if Tyler Algier did score. They were down 21 points before the national anthem and still refused to throw the ball. Mariota had 13 passes when Joe Burrow was throwing the laces off of the football. It looked like a tennis ball by the time Smoking Joe was done. This was horrendous to the players and to the Falcons fans. They clearly don't care about winning. And you can take a nap during their games because there's nothing to see here. I'm not saying to drop Pitts or Linden, but you can't start them with any confidence. Burrow almost broke the bank by putting up 481 yards and 3 TDs. Jamar came away with another 30-point performance by going for 130 yards and 8 grabs. And 2 were TDs. All 3 receivers got busy. Don't expect a performance like this for the rest of the season for Tyler Boyd. Dallas 24, Lions 6. The Lions stink. Jamal Williams could have had a solid day if he didn't fumble twice, especially with one being on the goal line. We all expect Swift back next week. Maybe he's the Swift Army knife that everyone can bank on to get this offense rolling again. Amon-Ra St. Brown went down with a concussion. It was all bad. Zeke did what he was supposed to do, and he scored 2 TDs. And he was supposed to against the worst run defense in football. Dak went 19 for 25 and a touchdown, which isn't bad, but you expected more from him going against a defense that gives up 32 points a game. The Giants 23, Jags 17. There's a new RB1 for the Jags, and he has arrived. It's Travis Etienne, and he dominated the snaps and the carries. Seeing the tables have turned, Charlie Murphy. James Robinson didn't have a carry and only 1 target. This is the second week in a row where Etienne has eclipsed 100 scrimmage yards. And he just possesses the breakaway speed that Robinson doesn't have. He's looking like a weekly RB2 with this kind of usage. Christian Kirk led the team in receptions and yards while going 7 for 96. Giants just keep finding cute ways to win ugly games. Barkley came away with 110 on the ground, adding 4 grabs for 25 through the air. Slayton did go for 58 yards and a TD, while Rondell Robinson had a nice PPR day by going 6 for 50. Robinson played on 70% of the snaps, which is most likely his cap, because he's not going to play in the XY positions because he's a slot receiver, but this is good to see. But he's a good flex play at this point. Daniel Bellinger, who was on the waiver wire ad last week, he left the game extremely early with an apparent eye injury. More to come. Evaluate the situation and monitor it. Titans 19, Colts 10. Henry bust the game wide open. 30 carries, 128 yards. Don't trust anybody outside of the King for the Titans. I thought this would be a smash start for Matt Ryan coming off a big game, and the Titans were ranked 28th against QBs. None of that mattered. Matty Ice was harassed more than a bikini model walking around in Walmart. He simply doesn't have time to read the defense and go through its progressions. This offensive line has went from elite to dumpster juice in one offseason. Jonathan Taylor was saved by receptions by having 7. Pittman was 6 for 58, but the sneaky player on this offense over the past 2 weeks is Paris Campbell. He put up 10 for 70 and a TD this week and last week, where he went 7 for 57 last week. I honestly don't want to get reeled into this offense, but you can't not have production 2 weeks in a row. The Commanders, 23, Packers 21. Ron Rodgers. He misses Devontae Adams like Shaq 3-pointers. Misses. I'll be here all week. The Packers are done for on the year. It's no fixing this midseason because their offensive line is average and the receivers just aren't in sync with Rodgers. Now, Ron did go for 194 and 2 touchdowns, which isn't a bad day by any stretch. It's just not what you're accustomed to by having an elite QB like him. He's been so good for so long, but this is his absolute ceiling, 2 TDs. Aaron Jones is the only bright spot on this offense right now, and he came away with 2 TDs through the air. You can't drop A.J. Dillon. I don't know if he'll ever get a start if he's playing 16 snaps. Lazard and Jones are the only 2 startable pieces here. I thought Robert Tonyan would be a beneficiary of Randall Cobb's injury. Wrong. He had 1 point deep into the 4th quarter. It took like a last-minute drive for him to even get to 6 PPR points. Taylor Heineke put up 201 yards and 2 touchdowns. Avoid this backfield if you can. Brian Robinson had 20 carries. And 90% of the time, I'm telling you that you want the guy that's getting 20-plus touches. But this backfield is a disaster, like driving through a safari on a bike. Robinson had 20 carries. Gibson had 10 carries. Curtis Samuel had 5. Brian Robinson only played 1 third down snap. So he's not catching anything. Everything has to come on the ground, so he's going to be TD dependent. Gibson is even stealing some of the goal line work. So I want to avoid this backfield if possible. McLaurin had his best game of the season. by getting 5 grabs for 73 yards and a TD. About time. The Jets 16, Broncos 9. I'm afraid we lost the Offensive Rookie of the Year yesterday, and nobody was close to him not getting this award. I would love to be wrong and this be a short-term injury. Breece Hall had 4 carries for 72 yards and a TD. That TD was a 62-yard run. He has world-class top-end speed, so they won't be able to fill this void completely, but Michael Carter is my number 1 waiver wire ad for this week. And the consensus may say it's Gus Edwards, but I want the catches too, and that's something Gus can provide. No other Jet is worthy of being started while Zach Wilson steers the ship. Breece was their entire offense, so I don't know how they recover from this. Broncos, this is another backfield to avoid by any means necessary. I would rather try to fly away from Vagar before I played any of these running backs. Jerry Jeudy put up 7 for 96, while Cortland Sutton put up a dud. Russell looks so bad that Sutton still might be the only one to trust, even if his ceiling is about 16 points or so. KC, 44, San Fran, 23. Andy Reid tricked the entire fantasy community by naming Isaiah Pacheco the starting running back. I was about excited as a kid who his parents let him open up a gift the day before Christmas, because I thought at the least somebody was going to get demoted and this would be a 2-headed backfield. Pacheco had 8 carries and 0 targets while playing 30% of the snaps. Don't go chasing McCole Hardman and these 96 jet sweeps that he ran. Juju is the only wide receiver to roster on this team. San Fran made the biggest acquisition of the year by getting CMC from Carolina. I can't wait for him to play every down. In a much better offense, you can cut Jeff Wilson. He'll need an injury to get back on the field. Brandon Ayuk led the team in targets for the 2nd game in a row, putting up 7 for 82. Debo put up 5 for 42, and his running out of the backfield days might be behind us like a shirt tag. But to say Debo has been average is being very nice. I don't like the situation for him, especially with CMC coming to town. All right, let's get into the most important part of fantasy, and it's the waiver wire ads of the week. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Daniel Jones might be a legitimate streamer. 40% owned. Now, this certainly benefits you more in leagues that are 4 points per passing touchdowns, because Jones has 3 games where he doesn't have a passing TD. So this is sketchy at best, but I don't know your QB situation. You might be playing Russell Wilson and need to pivot to anyone. If I had Russell Wilson, I would seriously be thinking about PJ Walker or PJ sandwiches. So if you're desperate, this may be the move to make, at least for a week or so. Most sites, they won't have this guy first because he's owned in 66% of leagues. And that's Michael Carter of the New York Jets, who's going to be the number 1 waiver wire ad for running backs. Now, it's no way for him to get numbers that Breece Hall was able to accumulate. But in full PPR, he's a great ad because he's been the passing downs running back all year for the Jets. Now, New York, they want to limit all of their passes as long as they have Zach Wilson as their super game manager. So this is why Michael Carter is the number 1 ad as far as running backs. The number 2 guy to get is Gus Edwards of the Baltimore Ravens. He's 43% owned. Temper your expectations like crazy. Now, I would say he looked great. He actually looked real Jerome Bettis-esque. But he won't catch a ball like playing fetch with a blind dolphin. So it's going to be TD or a bust. And how many games will the Ravens have where Lamar doesn't rush 1 or 2 touchdowns in? He pretty much split the snaps almost evenly 3 ways with Justice Hill and Kenyon Drake. He was just lucky enough to land the 2 TDs. So you have to pick him up because he's the starter of this team, but it's going to be a messy situation, especially with J.K. Dobbins coming back in about a month. The number 3 running back to own is a 2-for-1 deal, and that's the Carolina backfield, Deontay Freeman and Chuba Hubbard. I was dead wrong saying to pick them up, but don't start him because I personally thought they had the worst offense in football, along with them starting PJ Walker. But none of that mattered. Both running backs played like they hate each other. Foreman put up 118, and Hubbard ran for 63 yards in the TD. I don't know if either will emerge as the hot hand, but both maybe need to be rostered at this point. The number 1 wide receiver to own is Wan'Dale Robinson of the New York Jets of the New York Giants. And he's 29% owned. The reason I was afraid to tell you to start him this week was because of how little snaps he played after coming off of his injury. But he was second in snaps by playing on 70% of the snaps and leading the team in targets. I think he's the number one receiver in this offense and should be a nice weekly flex play. The number one tight end to add is the Broncos' Greg Dulcich. I don't know if it's Dulcich or Dulcich. Dulcich. Look him up. Yeah, I've never heard of him before last week. Now, I hate to even tell you to subscribe to a Broncos player right now, but he's heavily involved and caught 6 of his 9 targets for 51 yards. He played in 32 of the 43 possible snaps while they were in 11 personnel. But he does play one game, then he's on a bye. He had 19% of the targets. And his numbers will fluctuate by the Broncos offense being so bad. But tight end play has been down, so 10 points is a good weekly play. If you add any tight end that gets 10 points, you're going to be satisfied. The number one kicker to add is Jason Myers of the Seattle Seahawks. He scored double digits in 5 straight games. Once again, this is the 100 sub giveaway show, so sub to the channel, drop your city in the comments, and that's all you need in order to be in the giveaway. I'll do this for a week, and the actual winner will be announced in next week's waiver wire ad episode. Happy hunting on the waiver wire. Thanks for listening. I'm out.